What's up again, everybody? Let's review some cards. Let's talk about the Justice cards specifically. We're going to go through every single Justice card, hopefully, in the set, letter by letter, A to Z. Justice box first, giving it an A through F ranking. A is things that are going to make the high competitive meta. B are things that are just outside of that, or they're good little tech pieces on those teams. Good build-around cards for casual, semi-competitive teams. C cards are cards that are just perfectly fine. Nothing great about them. They don't jump out. Nothing terrible about them. All of them are playable. You could put a C card on a competitive team to make it a little bit more. You're going to put a lot of C cards on semi-competitive and casual teams, and you're going to enjoy the heck out of them. They're great cards. D cards are question marks. They're like, why did you put this ability on that expensive of a card? Or why would I play this card instead of playing the same exact card but cheaper from another set? And then F cards are cards that you use as coasters for your drinks. Things that if you sneeze and you don't see a tissue near you, you just kind of go for that one. Cards that are simply nonsensical. Maybe you just want to put it on a team and try to win with it because it would be too hilarious if you actually picked up the win. So starting us off is Aquaman Arthur Curry, a 3-drop shield Justice League character with an 023, 034, 145 stat line. Pretty good stat line. Max 4 says, while Aquaman is active, Justice League characters cost 1 less to buy to a minimum of 1. This card is a solid B. This is a key piece for most Justice League theme teams. You would put this on just about any Justice League list, including competitive. You'd consider it. It's worth thinking about at any point if you're going to be running Justice League characters exclusively or even non-exclusively. If something is powerful enough with that Justice League affiliation, you might want to just discount it a little bit. Plus, this is a good body in the field. This is a solid B. Aquaman Saving the 7 Seas is a 4-drop version that says, while Aquaman is active, when a character die on a character face moves from your reserve pool to your used pile at the end of your main step, gain 2 life. Yeah, so did you get all that? This is almost never useful or even really worth the 4-drop purchase. Sidekicks don't count for this. They're just sort of a die on the character face. They're not actually characters. So you can't just roll sidekicks and then move those at the end of your main step, so you don't actually get the heal from sidekicks. In order to have this actually work, you'd actively be avoiding fielding your characters that you've purchased just to heal 2. The only time that I've seen this actually work on a team or be effective on a team is with like Ring of Winter dragons, where you wouldn't field your dragons and then use Ring of Winter during the attack step to bring them in for free, so you didn't have to pay for them. But is this a necessary piece on that team? No, it's clearly not. You don't need life gain on that exact team, and up until now there's no other utility for this card. Maybe in the future this makes life gain a little bit better, but you'd have to build something or you'd have to design something exactly with this in mind. So this is not unplayable, but it's pretty close. I give it a D-. Aquaman, son of a lighthouse keeper. We're back to that 3-drop purchase cost. He has Strike, and if you don't know Strike, this character die gets +2/+2 and Overcrush, so long as it's the only character die you fielded this turn. All right, so this is a decent all-around beater in like draft and limited formats. It's good in set if you're splitting the box up between you and a friend. Like a 3-drop 6/5 Overcrush for a turn is pretty decent overall. The Strike ability is better on cheaper characters because you can cycle them more freely. You can buy more of them, so more of them can be coming out. You can kind of line them up one turn, then the next turn, then the next turn. So Strike is a good keyword for low-cost characters, and this is a low-cost character with an already good stat line for a 3-drop. Give it Overcrush +2/+2 on a turn. I will take that. It doesn't do much more than that. Obviously, that's the only thing on the card, so because of that, it's a pretty average C. All right, this is Batman Can't Trust in Luck. We got a 5-drop mask character, Justice League affiliated, 143, 254, 265 stat line. His ability reads, when Batman KOs a character die with combat damage, prep a die from your bag. You want your 5-drop doing more than prepping a die. If you get this out and you have it on its 6/5 side, then it does require your opponent to react to it at some point. They can like take the damage one time and let it through, maybe even twice, but eventually it does require some sort of a block or response with a global, something like a blinking back. At that point, you do get a solid die prep each turn if you attack every time and they don't have a global that blinks your character back. Still, it's just too slow and expensive to justify 1 prep in any format other than limited. If you're looking for a card in a draft or a limited format that maybe gives you a little bit of ramp, This, I guess, is an option, and it's a good body on the field, but outside of that, it's just not very good. So this is right on that line of C- to D+. I would give it like a D+ and feel fine about that. The next Batman is Batman Consumed by Regret, a 4-drop mask character, Justice League affiliated, same stat line obviously. Batman must attack if there are any villain characters, and that's either players, both you or your opponent. So this feels a little bit similar to the last one, as it just leaves a little bit of something to be desired. You want your 4-drop doing a little bit more than this. This is a 4-drop with some good stats and a drawback. Nothing more. It's got the Justice League affiliation, so you could technically get this for 3 with Arthur Curry, and for that reason it makes it into the C- range, but at that point you have to handcuff it with another card, so this kind of slides onto a team as just another Justice League character to buy, with good stats, but it doesn't do anything for you except be a 6/5 on top. C-. The last Batman is the smart one. Back to the 5-drop purchase cost, and we have, while Batman is active, your Justice League character dice other than Batman get +1/+1 and cost 1 less to field. So this one is definitely worth putting on a Justice League team. Combined with Arthur Curry, you get a 4-drop that makes your Justice League characters free to field most of the time, because most of them have that 1 fielding cost, and they get the +1/+1 buff. This is what you would consider drafting in a Justice League format, and it would kind of push you in that Justice League direction. I'd say worth playing in semi-competitive, casual, and limited formats. For that reason, it's a B-. Alright, on to Bizarro, less than perfect, a 7-drop shield character with the double villain affiliation. One of them is the villain and one of them is the Legion of Doom. We got the 155, 276, 287 stat line. He's a max 2, and he says while there is an active opposing Justice League character, Bizarro has Overcrush. He's also got the amazing global that says pay a shield, switch a character dice, attack and defense until the end of the turn. This is a really weird one. I'm giving this a B for the global alone, as you're only ever buying the card if you're playing a theme team match, playing in set, playing in draft maybe, but you don't usually have the ramp to buy a 7-drop in draft, but you would at least be playing against Justice League characters. In those instances, you might consider dropping the 7 for this big Overcrusher, but in Constructed, it just doesn't really pan out. Yes, some people are playing Wonder Woman, and so this would count against that, but you're paying 7 for just the simple Overcrush, and it doesn't really do much for you, the card itself. Now, the Global makes this worth remembering, as a stat flip is very powerful on a lot of different low attack, high defense teams. So because this Global is essentially a win condition on a lot of different teams with those stat lines, this card is a B. Bizarro, more than a monster, another 7-drop, same affiliations and stat line. This one has Strike. This character gets +2/+2 in Overcrush as long as it's the only character fielded this turn. How good is that? Answer, not good at all. Skip it. This card is not worth your time. It's a 7-drop that only has Overcrush on a single turn. Once your opponent takes that initial Overcrush damage, they can just block it over and over because Overcrush is gone, and it's not going to come back until you remove him from the field, field him again, and then hope that you have Overcrush again, you know? Do not waste your energy on this card. This card is an F. On to Black Manta Beyond Rehabilitation, a 3-drop fist character, double villain affiliated again. A 113, 124, 135 stat line that says while you have an active villain character other than Black Manta gains +2 attack. Yeah, this is a solid little card. On a villain team, you've got what's likely to be a 3/3, 4/4, or 5/5. See, I've actually put this onto a Black Adam Doomlance team and bought 3 of them and just used this as the thing that Doomlance goes onto. It just plain works. It's nothing super fancy. It's pretty decent overall. It's one of those good cards to remember. It's got 2 affiliations for something like a team up. Like I said, it's solid. C+. Black Manta Hate Itself, another 3-drop fist. This one says when Black Manta KOs a sidekick character die, deal 1 damage to target opponent. This card is not bad. The other one is better, but if you had to take this in a limited format, it's like just fine. This is a fine draft pick towards the end. It makes your opponent block with something a little bit more important than a chump blocker sidekick, and that can sometimes be a little bit inconvenient for them. And if they do block with a sidekick, well, then you're getting 1 damage through, so that's not bad. It's got a tiny bit of upside. It's cheap, not the best card that you would ever see in the world, but it's worth playing in those sort of limited casual formats. It's a C. Quick strategic side note, there's a new card coming out in the upcoming Warhammer set called Daemonette. And if you didn't see it in the previous video, go check out my previous video where I talked about all of the news and spoilers and things. It says while Daemonette is active, sidekick character dice must block. So maybe you just load your field up with these 3-drop guys, force your opponent's sidekicks to block every time by leaving Daemonette in the field, and you can get some free damage that way. That's kind of a cool little strategy. Very fun casual. All right, our last card for this video is Black Manta, super villain, a 2-drop version of Black Manta. Says when Black Manta is KO'd, you may spin target villain character die up 1 level. So the ability on this card doesn't really have any bearing in the current card pool. There are not many impactful awaken abilities on villain characters, and if you did want to build a team with one of those, then you just stick to a global speed ability that triggers your awaken more easily. That being said, this is a 2-drop 3/5, so at least it's worth a C. 2-drops in draft are really, really good, guys. All right, so that's the first of many videos to come looking at this Justice set, going card by card, giving each one a rating. If you're not subscribed to my channel, then you're gonna miss out on the next couple. Wait a minute, this is the first time in 2.5 years I'm actually saying something about subscribing. Scratch that, I'm not gonna break my streak. Let me know what you think about the ratings, let me know what you think about these cards, and as always, thanks for watching.